Less is more. If you are feeling overwhelmed with a task that you are trying to accomplish, maybe it's time to evaluate what is causing you to either procrastinate or unable to finish this task. Let's take running a business, for example. You have the dream and desire of running a multi-million-dollar business. However, you know it's going to take employees to help you achieve that. But right now, you're being a solopreneur and doing everything by yourself. What you should do is take a step back and say, what can I do today to bring me closer to my goal in the future? Then say, if I continue doing this, how much further will I get to achieving my goal? That's the first part you want to look at. Second thing is you ask yourself, with all these other things I want to do in the business, will this be taking away from me putting in the work that I need to put in order to be successful? For example, you are doing a podcast and you want to have a newsletter. You know it takes you at least 3-4 hours to shoot this podcast, upload it, do all this, that, and the fourth, right? But now you want to do a newsletter, and that newsletter is going to take up some of your time. Is that time that you can afford to give up that won't affect the business? If it's affecting your productivity, then it's something that you need to stop doing. That is something where you have to delegate, not eliminate, but delegate. It's important, but it's not urgent at the time. This comes down to the time management matrix. It'll give you a peace of mind at the end of the day. So you have 4 quadrants. Top left is the urgent and important. Those are things that you need to do now. So let's use the podcast for an example. I have to record my podcast. Let's say it's a daily podcast. I have to record my podcast daily. That is something that is important and urgent and needs to be done. Those things need to be done right away, immediately. Then if you go to the top right, that's when these are important but not urgent. This is where you schedule. You put this into the schedule and you allot time to work on your craft. However, a newsletter can be very, very lengthy. It could take a lot of effort to do. So if you go down to the bottom left corner, that is the delegate box. The delegate box is when you offload the task to somebody else. Be like, hey, I hire an assistant, a virtual assistant at that, so I can keep my costs down. And be like, virtual assistant, get this newsletter done for me and run it out every Monday. That way, you don't have to take time away from you making the podcast. You stay in your creator space and you offload the work to somebody else. You have to be able to trust people with the things that you're doing in order to grow, especially in business. The last quadrant is eliminate. That is the bottom right corner. It's not urgent, it's not important. Like scrolling through social media, answering every email that comes through your inbox, private messages. These are all things that can wait, not necessary right now. If you just take a step back and see how it is that your day is running. If you always have busy days but not productive days, then time management is the thing that you need. Time management saves you time, energy, and also money, because the money that you could be making, you're not making because you're doing everything by yourself. So there's a lot of tools out there that you can use to make your life much easier. There's scheduling apps like Candidly, project management apps like Trello. You can use all these things. If you Google what it is exactly what you're looking for, you'll find these things. Another alternative is hire somebody to do these stuff for you. Let me give you an example. You have a CEO. A CEO is a chief executive officer. They are the ones that just have the vision of making something, or just that they have that big picture, but they're terrible at executing. That's why you have a COO. That's a chief operating officer. And what they do is they bring your vision to life. They put tasks and put things in place so that your vision now comes to life. It's like, hey, I have a vision of making a solar-powered rocket ship. Okay, the CEO goes out there and looks for people and says, guys, we need to make a solar-powered rocket ship. I'm going to hire A, B, C, D to get this done. And I'm going to oversee their work. Once it's done, I'm going to present it to the CEO. That's the whole purpose of a COO. And if you're trying to grow in your business, you need to be able to hire these people. We live in a day and age of technology where technology is ramping up. Like, every time you blink, there's a new technology coming out. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to give my business or do stuff with people. I can't trust people. You know what? You're going to have to trust something. If it's not people, then use technology. AI technology is a game changer. Let me give you an example. This is unbusiness related, but I started to have a panic attack. And you know what I did? I went to AI technology to speak to somebody, and they helped me get through a tough situation. And I was able to resolve my issue sooner than later. It's been sitting on my mind because I have these big plans and I always get stuck in some stage. And what I said to myself this morning is, Dean, you're doing too much. Less is more, not more. Don't continue doing more and more. The more you do, the less you end up actually doing. So you got to take a step back and do the bare minimum. Just get it off the ground. So with that being said, I hope you take this information, apply it to yourself. For anybody that does join my mailing list, I'm going to give you the time management matrix workbook that I created to help you gain back your time, your energy, and give you a peace of mind. That is today's episode of the Learn Podcast, where first you learn, then you drop the L and you earn. I'm your host, Dean the Wealth Coach, and I will see you tomorrow for episode 11.